Thank you.
You're hired.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job, guys.
Okay. First order of business is the approval of minutes, and I read them, and I'm sure Deb has also. And make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. First order of business is a presentation of turtle crossing signs by the third grade Sergeant School Brownie Troop.
So you guys can come up, there's microphones right here. if
Right
you
at the
want.
table.
Or maybe you can come in front if you want to show everybody your signs.
Right over here, you girls can, those microphones work.
So show them to the commission first, and then you can turn around and show them to the camera.
Oh, boy. Those are beautiful.
Nice.
Yep.
So the history behind this is on Dale Street, we had two signs that the town purchased and were stolen after a period of time. I don't know why, but that just happened. And so we had seen some endangered Blandings turtles on the road that had been hit. So these turtle crossing signs will take the place of those signs. And the girls called, asked for a project, and this is what they did.
We have more signs coming up.
More signs, okay, so maybe take those back and we'll bring the other two up. or move
And
on.
we've been told by the Department of Public Works that they are gonna be chained. So,
We're
fix
gonna
that,
chain the signs.
so that we don't lose them, because you girls have done a fine job.
Perfect job. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep, I like them very much.
I'm dying to see a red turtle, though.
And I actually think these will be more effective than, prefabricated street signs, because
Absolutely.
I think
people
so.
pay attention.
Now, who knows why the Blandings turtle is so important? Does anybody realize why it is?
It's because we see a lot of turtles all over the place, right? But Blandings turtles are very, very rare. They're hard to find. It's because of all the development and growth and people building near where they live. And because of that, the turtles get crowded out. So they're actually rare and they're almost endangered. They're getting to the point of almost being extinct, like the dinosaurs. So it's our job to find a way to protect them, and your job to help let the people know why they're important. So these signs are a big help for that. Really good job.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I would say the commission doesn't have any questions, do they?
None, beautiful.
All right, then we will have a motion.
Brownie that
Up.
took part in
But all the brownies get any tip back.
Well, and when we will put them up in the spring when the turtles start waking up and crossing the road again. And when that happens, I will definitely let you know so you can see your signs in action.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And I hear we're
Yeah,
gonna
good-
get
good work, good hard
We're gonna
work.
get a picture that we'll get out there on social media and things for people.
Which
to
camera, Mr. Producer, which camera's live? When everybody waved to everybody at home, you're on TV right now, that camera.
All right, girls, smile. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Say bye.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Jen.
Good project.
It's a good group.
Yep.
First order of
There's
bid,
token mail there even.
yeah, you gotta have one.
Like a brother. There's probably a brother.
Tell me his ears aren't bleeding. Small project, not, number 227, 350 Forest Street.
Okay, so. Oh. I mean, oh, that's Winthrop Ave. I was like 350. Oh,
Jen, I've never seen them before.
they are pretty, they're not, you don't see them out and about very often. I've seen them in the woods here.
So the next time you see
Call you
one,
up, get
call
you
me
up
up
there.
and please take a picture.
Okay, I will.
Really, just during breeding, it's the only time they're really moving, right?
I don't know, I've seen them at, during
The wood-
wetland
yeah,
delineations, the.
Scrubby
once or
woodlands
twice.
next to pools, yeah.
I think I've only seen them twice.
Actually, the best place to see them is right on Winter Street.
Really?
Right on Winter Street, below area there. That's really where the most of them are right now.
And if you see any, please take a picture.
Okay, I will. They don't stick around,
They don't.
but I'll try to, yes.
Okay,
I will.
thank you.
Okay, so at the last meeting, you asked for a revised plan that more accurately depicted things on site. So with that, the homeowners went back and made a lot of measurements. The first plan I received from them didn't have some of the features on it that this plan has, so with discussion with the homeowners, I superimposed their measurements onto the plan that basically showed the well. The most important measurement being they sort of drew a diagonal line from the well to the end of the wall and measured it as 61 feet. It was a diagonal, but when you straighten it out, it puts it just outside the no-build zone, about 51, 52 feet away, which I think is what you wanted to see. The shed, as you requested, they went back and found the ZBA plan, which showed an approval for having it 13 feet off the property line, and the dimensions you see there are fairly accurate. The distance off the end of the driveway and the house, they also provided me. The length of the wall is also on the plan, so I think everything you requested at this point has been met.
Questions, Joe?
No, I think this is a record plan that we could put in and be comfortable it's accurate. I'm all set.
No?
I have no questions.
Deb?
No questions.
No questions. Motion?
So it would be, first would be to accept as a small project H.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
And then it would be to retroactively approve the project as it meets all of the requirements for a small project as completed.
So moved.
Discussion, any conditions that you want to run with this vote right now?
We will be revisiting the site in the spring at your request to check the brush dumping that had occurred to see if anything needed to be removed. And Anna, the wetland markers are up, correct?
Yes.
So they have wetland markers up, and that's part of the prior order of conditions that required those to be there. So I think at this point, everything's in compliance.
Enforcement order, right?
We have an enforcement order in place, and
Yeah,
that...
but not the order of conditions, but it's part of the old EO.
No,
We have
as
two.
part of the old order of conditions for the septic system, they were required to have the markers, so
Got it,
those
got
are
it.
in place now.
Okay.
No further
Don't-
questions?
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, and that's unanimous. We're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next order of business is 242, no DOT, no DOT. Hi, Sean. Mr. Chairman, how you doing? Not bad. DEP number 326 Campbell Road.
Jamie, is this this is the revised plan, right?
Yeah.
So I have a few,
You're on this one, County Road.
so there was a prior filing on this, a notice of intent some years ago. A positive order of conditions had issued. It was never acted upon, so with that, we had something to go by when reviewing the delineation. In speaking with the delineators, there were some issues with some heavy vegetative cover, I think, when they first delineated the property. So going out there in winter provided us an opportunity to have a little more access, and the delineation did change slightly. The plan you see in front of you, and do you have hard copies for me, please? Okay, great, and those, thank you. Is the revised plan, and there's also a letter sort of with a description of the delineation and the resource areas out there. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dennis Gricci to present the project.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Dennis Gricci, an engineer with Andover Consultants with an office at 1 Easter Place in Methuen. Here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Gerard Welch of Carolina Properties. The property is 326 Campbell Road. It's approximately 5.6 acres. The site was originally delineated by Norse Environmental Services in August of 2018. As Jennifer mentioned, it was some thick vegetation, so during the walk last Friday, the 18th of January, they adjusted some of the flags. The old flags we kept on the plan, so you can see where those changes have been made or where the flags have been eliminated. The wetland summary report that Norris prepared for the project, dated January 23rd, kind of describes the site in general, the wetlands. There is a natural heritage mapped potential vernal pool in the rear of the lot. It's not the time of year to evaluate that, but we will do that in the event that a notice of intent or any future filing is done. Additionally, the natural heritage has mapped the property as priority habitat. Again, that'll be something that'll be handled at the time of a notice of intent or future filings. For this filing, we're requesting that the boundary of the BVW be confirmed, which is why we're submitting the ANRAD. If the commission has any questions about the plan or the application, I'd be happy to answer them.
I might as well, I'm ready, so I'll just have a question. I'm looking at an aerial here. Jen, the house, is it, where is the house on this plan? Is it the one with the pool in it?
No.
No. Where's, yeah, because I don't see Campbell
The
Road.
aerial that I printed is a little clearer. This is the house, and this is the property. So
Because you have one, two,
it's
three
really,
structures
this is
on this
a
property.
soils map, so
Oh,
I
okay.
wouldn't look at that for, that is not the best plan of the property
Okay.
to be looking
I'm
at.
just-
But a lot of these, are taken, that's why I printed these aerials,
Okay.
because our GIS shows it a lot clearer than what you can see on some.
So there's only one structure on the property?
There's a-
right now.
Large shed and the house.
Yeah, there's the dilapidated house. There's also a dilapidated shed that's nearly falling down. A couple abandoned cars. I believe the two structures.
A lot of abandoned everything.
There's two structures?
It's like they just walked out and left it
The
all.
shed that's shown on the
Well, I
plan.
don't count the shed.
Yeah, the house and the shed.
Well, I know, but my concern is it's 5 acres, and you're looking for an ANRAD, and I'm just wondering if they're thinking about putting another house in there.
They would have to cross wetland to
Okay.
get, that pond, it's priority habitat. I don't think that would be on anybody's mind. I don't think there's, from a zoning perspective, contiguous buildable upland for another lot either, would be my guess. I'm not going to verify those things accurately, but I think those are sort of discussions I've had with other folks that have been looking at this lot.
Okay?
You have any thoughts about that?
I have not considered the fact that it could be subdivided beyond what it is. I can't comment on it. I would think it's unlikely, just as Jen described, that the extent of that wetland. It's not quite a wetland. If you look at an aerial, it's more of it's a pond. So it wouldn't be just crossing of a wetland. It would be a more substantial. So I would say that it's probably outside of the realm of possibility.
It's just that when something's, it's 5 acres, it kind of red flags me.
They only delineated the front side of the wetland, there's no delineation of the rest of the property. So to do
Right.
anything like that, they'd have to have a delineation of every square inch of the property.
I was looking at so they picked up the BVW on the house side of the pond, nothing on the other side,
Right, not even bank of pond.
not
So,
even bank.
yeah. Just the closest resource area, which makes sense.
Joe, any questions?
Not so much questions, there's two statements. One to kind of spring off of where you just came from, and that's,
If they were to move forward, you can't subdivide the land and create a hardship to create the limited project. So even if that was their ultimate intention, and then say, well, look, the only way for me to get to my higher ground property is by filling up to the 5,000 square foot limit, and do that in order to get it, that, under the limited project rules, that wouldn't wash, because they're coming in and we're establishing it as a single lot, we're establishing that line now, so if anything, that's giving us added protection by getting the ANRAD first. And then the second point is just being real careful of when we ultimately do what I think we might do, which is to issue a positive delineation, to be clear on what it is only that we're approving, and not those other resources which are likely present elsewhere on the property. whether it's identifying it by series number or whatever it is, that's all we're addressing, because that's all that they're asking us to address.
We don't have a DEP file number. I checked again just like tonight. So we can't close. But at this point, I wouldn't think I have any problem with the BBW boundary.
So, and I did have one other, this isn't a real question. So you had passed out a separate colored up 11 by 17. The plan that's in front of us as part of the packet, it is the revised line, correct?
Right. I haven't gotten to compare the new plan, which Dennis just handed me,
And that's
to
this?
the old delineation. But I can say that, given the conditions on site, I don't know what it looked like in 2006, but, you know, there's nothing about the delineation as it's been amended that leaves any, you know, it's toe slope driven, it's, you know, on the high side, there's no vegetation above it, there's, you know, so maybe the delineation from 2006 was a little conservative is my only guess. There's definitely a lot of material on site, so they could have encountered rock and just flagged it higher. I'm not really sure, but we did a lot of digging, even under frozen conditions, we were able to get into the ground. Like I said, we moved all of the flags between 11 and 18 on the plan, which brought the line up closer to where I think you see that old orange line on that plan. I just wanted to point out to you, you know, why it sort of hit me as being not right, but at this point, I don't have.
But as I visually compare it, the actual ANRAD submission, this plan is the accurate one?
Yes.
Okay, I'm all set.
So, recognizing what we're being asked to confirm, it's not lost on me what the applicant is asking for, but there's nothing that we can say or do here tonight to prevent this applicant or any future applicant from coming forward and seeking more than what we approve, provided that they apply for it for what's not here tonight. There's nothing we have no prohibition, so we're just looking at what it is, but that doesn't mean in 4 weeks another plan can't come in front of us
And delineate the whole property?
Sure.
Someone could do that.
easily, so.
We just did it for, we approved an ORAD for 1600 Osgood at the last meeting, and there was a portion of the property that was sort of impenetrable, and they decided to leave it off the plan. It's just, I mean, we make notes of that, and
No, I get it. I'm looking at the aerial photo, and I'm looking at the flag line, starting at 1A, and the way the house is oriented on the lot. But that being said, you know, I understand what's in front of us, and I'm not confused by it, but let's not also have any delusions that there can't be more coming down the road.
yeah, I mean, if anything with this plan, that you see the two they added, there's kind of a, did you just put the plan on there versus delineate? I'm sorry, you superimposed the pond or the buffer zone?
The pond is shown dashed, hanging over the property line. That's the pond on the adjacent property. And then we showed the 100-foot buffer zone from that.
Off of that.
And that was taken from GIS.
There's a pond on the adjacent property which hasn't been delineated.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Right, and so the line,
one, right?
it doesn't,
It's the piece of.
are you sure you wouldn't
Is that-
want
yeah,
to
it's a piece,
delineate
yeah.
that?
Probably a
Because
connection.
it's on the property.
It's unclear. I mean, the GIS has it shown kind of close to our property. During the survey and some of the wetland flagging, that wasn't a butter that had some issues with the project, so we're doing our best to stay away from their property.
I would say, at some point in the future with the project, you know, confirming that line may be required.
Yep.
I mean, that's my point, is being clear of, you know, in words, what it is we're approving, and that there is likely other resource areas that we're not even addressing.
Well, I think it's good that they noted that there's something there, because it's not going to get by someone in the future that,
But I'm agreeing with Joe. We have to also make that clear in our finding.
okay.
Thank you. All set.
Sean,
No question?
no question. Doug? Motion?
Well, we have to continue.
Oh, continue, I'm sorry.
We don't
For the
have,
DEP file number, but I don't think there's any reason, unless you decide there's anything else you want to add to the plan
No.
for them to attend the next hearing.
So I'd request a continuance to
Yeah,
the next
continue,
meeting.
be 3 weeks.
Second.
Because, right there, Jamie, 3 weeks is the next meeting?
Yep, I'm right.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you. Next one is.
Jen, do you want these exhibits back? or-
Just one for the file.
1741 Handrail request for Zero Turnpike, request to continue to February 13th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Next one, NOI for 430 Osgood Street, Town of North Andover, request to continue to 2/13. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242 1745, 350 Windsor Ave, request to continue to 2/13.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242 1746, request to continue to 2/13/19.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242 1747, 42 Best Way.
All right, at the prior hearing, you had discussed mitigation with the applicant. At that time, it was Bill Manuel from the wetland scientist on this project. Hold on, I gotta cast a different plan. There we go. So the discussion at the prior meeting, because this house exists already within the no-build and the no-disturb zone, there was a discussion of mitigation to try to provide better protection for the resource area. With that in mind, there were a couple things discussed, possibly removing some of the driveway pavement and providing a buffer zone, a vegetated buffer zone to the wetland where none exists today. So the plan you see in front of you has a 10-foot wide vegetated buffer along the top of the, there's quite a slope down to the wetland, which is currently vegetated with Pachysandra.
The edge of the wetlands is the bottom of the Pachysandra.
Correct.
So taking the Pachysandra out, putting in native plants.
Yep, I think it was dogwood and red twig dogwood and sweet pepper bush would be the plants. So in speaking with the chair this morning and reviewing the filing, the only thing we sort of noted was that only 2 wetland markers were proposed, whereas normally it would be every 30 feet. So I asked the consultant to make that change. And then the only other thing I asked was, given the undisturbed nature of this area, that the plantings be just a little bit denser. You had 10 feet on center. I would recommend, 8 feet on center. Usually I say 6 to 8, but if he's 10, I'll go 8.
How about 9?
Yeah. Like even numbers. So with that, I'll turn it over, and if there's anything else you want to add.
Yes, I was here 2 weeks ago. Good evening, everyone. And Jen and Bill Manuel have discussed everything here. I think 2 weeks ago, we were all in agreement of the basis of it. We have removed some of the asphalt adjacent to the addition, and there was a portion of it that ran behind the house. That'll be removed as well. We've also proposed a pervious walkway from the driveway to the entry of the addition.
Is that new from the last plan?
Pardon me?
Is that new from the last plan?
Yes.
So that's the, I see it now. That was previously, they had planting beds there, or,
Pardon me?
They had said something about putting planting beds
The
along.
planting where the pavement will be removed for planter. I don't have my pointer.
Oh, I see, on the side of the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
What question?
Al?
No questions.
I have a few. There's no saying, once we approve this project, that those are pretty sick-looking rhododendrons and brush, and I could see that being removed rather quickly. I think that the wetlands, well, you can pick where you want them, Jen, but I think across the back,
Behind them?
behind them, should be designated conservation land or wetlands. And I'd be up to the commission, they can decide what they want. But along the driveway, it's all wetlands. The 8 series flags are right there.
Which flags are you?
All the way along the driveway, going up the side of the
It's
driveway.
pretty well,
A765.
yeah, that's pretty well vegetated at the, right
Well,
now.
I know it's vegetated, we're not trying to make you redelineate, but we're talking about additional posts and, or trees or.
More wetland markers.
More wetland
You could put
markers.
them on the trees
Oh, I
if they
see, yeah.
exist.
I'm not after for more.
Okay, markers,
more
yes.
plantings, but I could see those rhododendrons disappearing. 'Cause
So there would be a marker in front of them stating that they were part of that
Yeah.
no
Yeah,
disturbance.
so I would say along the back, well, Jen can tell you where she wants them, and I think that we should have some alongside the driveway, along the wetlands that are right alongside the driveway.
So the plan is going to be updated to include a note that says wetland markers will be installed every 30 feet, and we can just say along the entire wetland line?
Right. Are
10
these
feet off.
specific markers?
We have them.
Okay.
If you
Yeah.
want to get them from us, you could make up your own and we could approve them, but,
I used to be a fence guy, so.
yeah.
Okay. Sean?
I'm going to abstain. I missed the meeting where this was discussed earlier, so I'll pass.
And I think you'd like this project. Deb?
Don't know anything about it.
It's never a problem. Motion?
So if you'd like, I mean, we can't close because I have to write the order of conditions, but if you could vote the waivers for work in the no disturbance and no build zone, and then we could just approve at the order at the next meeting.
So moved. To waive.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstention. Sean's an abstention, Jimmy. Okay, well set.
Super,
And
thank you very much.
continue to the February 13th?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be here.
We need-
Oh,
right.
to vote, yeah.
We just
so
need a
moved.
motion.
Continue to the 13th.
All those in favor say aye.
With Bill.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
Hey, Jen, in your notes,
very
it says,
much.
waivers of the no build and no disturbance zones have been requested and voted. So
Did
we
I
voted
say,
at the
and,
last
but we
meeting?
haven't voted, no.
We polled the last time.
Gotcha.
We polled.
Yeah, sorry.
Just so Sean's not horrified, it's because the net improvement is actually an improvement over what's there now.
What's that?
Really? I've never heard that one before.
No, it is, we checked it.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, when I saw that was the
Yeah.
first.
We're good.
Since
Thank
I've been on
you.
the commission that
Yeah.
we've ever approved a.
Right, no, I'm sure there's a.
No 25.
I'm sure there's a story behind it all.
There is, there is. I
And
was,
instead of reliving it all for everybody to see again, I figured.
It's definitely related to when Vestway was built.
Yeah, because if I was gonna vote, I was gonna have to go into
I-
the weeds a little bit.
I
No pun
understand.
intended.
Okay, general business, we have 242-1655 requesting continue to February 13th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Right.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. And then I'll put these two together because they're both Mass DOT, 242-1632 and 242-0639. The Mass DOT's request to continue to February 13th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. And the next order of business is...
Can we skip that, because she's not here, and I'm actually gonna text her, because I don't think she's gonna be here before.
For what, the
we
Community
get to this.
Preservation Act?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the two enforcement orders are request to
Are
continue.
continuing to, yeah. Yeah,
I think that's a slam dunk anyways, but
I can present, I told her, well, you can, why don't you, if you can also read it, the presentation's in front of you. Oh, okay.
what's that?
That's right. We got 2 more continuances.
Okay.
They would like to see.
All right, we have enforcement orders. On 43 Scott Circle, request to continue to February 13th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. And 422, request to continue to February 13th. Enforcement order.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Okay, now what do we do?
Jen, you want to just tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. So the owners of this parcel actually came to the town initially, looking, not really sure how to protect their land, but wanting to protect their land. We met with them on 2 occasions, once with town council to kind of talk through the legalities of land protection. And there were 2 of the sisters, one had passed away, and there were some surviving children who were involved. So knowing that there was an estate and all that, I sent them off to Essex County Greenbelt, who are professionals in the land protection industry and certainly know all the ways in which one can protect land, whether it's outright purchase or conservation restrictions or whatever. The parcel is in watershed and abuts town-owned land in the town farm area. So it has a lot of value from that perspective.
So, can you tell me a little more precisely where it is, like compared to Gallagher Field?
It's
or-
just before Ironwood. It's 0 Dale Street. It doesn't have any structure on it. It is
Yep.
predominantly upland,
Yep.
and it's after the field as you're headed out
After
of
the field,
town.
yeah.
So currently, if you used to be able to walk behind the field and walk all the way to the golf course on town-owned land,
Oh.
the access back there has been cut off. I was actually speaking to Glenn from Friends of North Andover Trails. I had been out there about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and he said that is completely beaver flooded now, so you can't access the trails that are out there. I had printed the trails map so I can show you. This property would provide a new upland access. There would need to be a little bit of a boardwalk bridge type structure to make the access happen, but it does connect to that parcel and so would provide new access. The sisters are, the name is pretty well known in town. I know Lou was familiar with the name and the people associated with it. Their father had sold his land to Smollett Farms back in the day.
You're talking about the Glennies?
Glennies,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was telling you.
Field Dairy.
The old
Yes.
days.
Well, actually,
Dairy?
they had a building on Mass Ave. The Glenny's Dairy was actually right on
Yeah,
Mass
yeah.
Ave.
The farm was on the bottom, that's 195.
They had farmland there too, yeah.
That was the mansion, the Pendex.
Also down Waverly Road too.
So the reason for this being on the agenda tonight is as the purchase is being discussed, that they would like the town to own the land outright. In this scenario, Essex County Greenbelt would have a conservation restriction, would hold the conservation restriction, because if you use CPA funds to purchase a property, there has to be a conservation restriction. In addition, and again, I'm sort of speaking for Vanessa, because we've gone through the agenda so quickly, Essex County Greenbelt would, in addition, raise a portion of the funds for the purchase of the property, would cover the administrative costs associated with acquiring the property, would build the parking lot, the trails, and the signage with some assistance from Friends of North Andover Trails.
Do the baseline survey?
Yeah, that's usually included in what they did that for Leonard Farm when that was acquired as well. Well, that had a conservation restriction. But since the town would own the land outright, it seems in discussions with other departments in town, mainly my boss, and I had her check with the town manager. It seemed appropriate to have, if the commission was going to have care, custody, and control of the parcel, to have you on the application to the CPC.
And the parking lot on this piece of land will be built.
It would be built, yes. There would be public access. But again, this is all subject to approval in town meeting. Approval by the CPC and by,
This is the first step on a long journey.
correct. But the deadline for the community preservation application is February 8th. So this is your only meeting before that application is due. So if you do desire to be co-signers on the application, you would need to vote to do so at this meeting.
So, we'd own it as a town. Care, control, and custody would be Conservation Commission with a CR to Essex County Greenbelt.
Right. And the reason for all that is,
Do all the background work in order to which acquire it as well as contribute some fundraising effort towards that acquisition.
purchase price. They've also promised to, or offered to help the town do a land grant to the state to get back up to half of the purchase price. So that would be another.
58%, right? And there are no dwellings on the property now? Is it developable?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
it's valued, I think I can't remember if it's buildable or potentially buildable is how it's, but the assessed value is higher than the purchase price currently.
And how is this going to connect one side of Town Farm to the other side?
No, it doesn't connect Town Farm to one side to the other. It just, currently, if you look at the map of the open, and I think I printed, did I get it out? They're a little bit clearer than what I printed.
Thank you.
They also show, so here's the soccer field, and you can see this is the old trail, but this used to be the little spit of land upon which you could cross to this parcel and this larger parcel, which the town owns, and you can see the trails. This is the golf course here.
I didn't realize it was so
So
close.
the connection would be here, so then this would no longer be necessary.
So,
This was the old connection that you used to be able to cross on that you can no longer cross on. So the new connection to this, and you can see the trails in red.
so theoretically, they'd come down to Town Farm and then walk along Dale Street and come up this way and cut?
Well, no, there would be a parking lot on this
Oh,
parcel.
that's right. Or, but if somebody wanted to continue through, because there's the trail that
Yeah, you
ends here
could go
right
on
now.
to here and head back out, which would also get you, you know, more open space. The all of Town Farm goes through.
Is there currently a trail that goes? makes
Yes,
that
there
route?
is an old trail, and I think there's a picture of Glenn.
I saw
and-
somebody walking on it.
Somebody walking.
Yeah, that they,
Yep.
the Glennies in talking about the property, talked about skating back here and be frozen, they would skate.
Any questions, Jim?
Oh, it's a great project.
Yeah?
No questions.
Anything else from you?
Good?
All set?
Judd?
Do we need a vote to support and to authorize the chairman to act on our behalf with any applications?
Yeah, to sign the application on behalf of the commission. Let me just see what the signature.
So does it really get that close to the golf course?
It does.
So that could be the back nine.
The way I
never
golf, I'm
existed.
actually hitting into it.
That could be the back nine. 10 through 18 right there. Now we'll appreciate golf courses and country clubs, the two biggest wastes of real estate there is.
Cemetery.
So I'm sorry, who voted to endorse the application?
Sean, Mike?
I moved, Deb seconded, to support the project and to authorize the chairman to sign on behalf.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Goodness,
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous.
wow.